The Berlin Wall was more than just a physical barrier, it was a symbol of division, oppression, and the ideological battle that defined the Cold War era. It stood for almost 3 decades, separating families, friends, and an entire nation. Its construction was swift, its presence oppressive, and its fall was one of the most significant moments in modern history. To understand the Berlin Wall, one must first grasp the tensions that led to its creation. After World War II, Germany was divided into 4 occupation zones controlled by the United States, the Soviet Union, Britain, and France. Berlin, despite being deep within the Soviet-controlled East Germany, was also split among the 4 powers. Tensions between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union grew rapidly as ideological differences between democracy and communism became irreconcilable. In 1949, these tensions culminated in the formation of 2 separate German states, the Federal Republic of Germany, West Germany, and the German Democratic Republic, East Germany. West Germany, supported by the United States and its allies, became a thriving democratic state with a booming economy. East Germany, under Soviet influence, became a communist state with strict government control over daily life. The economic disparity between the 2 Germanys quickly became apparent. While West Germany experienced rapid economic recovery through the Marshall Plan, East Germany struggled under the weight of Soviet-imposed policies. The government of the GDR controlled wages, suppressed private business, and restricted freedoms, causing widespread dissatisfaction among its citizens. By the early 1950s, millions of East Germans had fled to the West in search of better opportunities and personal freedoms. Many used Berlin as their escape route, as the city provided the only accessible point between East and West. This mass exodus of skilled workers, intellectuals, and professionals was a disaster for the East German government. Desperate to stop the brain drain, the GDR, with approval from Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, decided to take drastic measures. In the early hours of August 13, 1961, East German soldiers, supported by Soviet forces, began sealing off West Berlin. Barbed wire was laid, roads were blocked, and train routes were severed. Within days, construction of the Berlin Wall had begun. It started as a simple fence but quickly evolved into a formidable concrete structure, stretching over 155 kilometers and reinforced with guard towers, anti-vehicle trenches, and a deadly death strip, a barren zone where anyone attempting to cross could be shot on sight. Life under the shadow of the Berlin Wall was harsh for those in East Germany. Families were torn apart overnight, with loved ones trapped on opposite sides. The East German government implemented a strict surveillance state, using the Stasi, one of the most feared secret police organizations in history, to monitor, imprison, and even execute those suspected of disloyalty. Despite the risks, thousands attempted to escape. Some tunneled under the wall, others hid in vehicles, and a few even flew over it using homemade contraptions. Many succeeded, but tragically, hundreds lost their lives in pursuit of freedom. The most infamous of these victims was Peter Fechter, an 18-year-old who was shot and left to bleed to death in 1962 while trying to climb the wall. His cries for help, ignored by East German border guards, became a haunting symbol of the wall's cruelty. The world watched as the Berlin Wall became the defining feature of the Cold War, embodying the struggle between democracy and communism. U.S. presidents visited the site, condemning its existence and calling for freedom. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy famously declared, "Ich bin ein Berliner," expressing solidarity with those trapped behind the wall. Over the years, tensions between East and West continued to rise and fall, with moments of severe crisis, such as the Berlin Crisis of 1961 and the Cuban Missile Crisis, bringing the world dangerously close to nuclear conflict. The wall stood as a reminder of this fragile peace, an iron barrier that seemed unbreakable. However, by the 1980s, cracks in the system began to show. The Soviet Union, under Mikhail Gorbachev, introduced policies of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, allowing for greater political freedom and economic reforms. These changes inspired a wave of pro-democracy movements across Eastern Europe. Protests in East Germany grew in size and intensity, demanding reform and freedom. The East German government, struggling to maintain control, made a historic blunder. On November 9, 1989, an official mistakenly announced in a press conference that travel restrictions would be lifted immediately. Within hours, thousands of East Berliners flooded the checkpoints, demanding to be let through. Overwhelmed and unprepared, border guards eventually opened the gates. What followed was an outpouring of emotion, celebration, and disbelief. People climbed the wall, chiseled away pieces as souvenirs, and embraced long-lost relatives. The world watched as the Berlin Wall, once a symbol of oppression, crumbled before their eyes. Its fall marked the beginning of the end for the Soviet bloc. Within a year, Germany was reunified, and shortly after, the Soviet Union itself collapsed. The Cold War had come to a definitive end. Today, remnants of the Berlin Wall stand as a reminder of the past. The East Side Gallery, a stretch of the original wall covered in murals, serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Memorials honor those who lost their lives seeking freedom. The fall of the Berlin Wall is celebrated worldwide as a triumph of hope over fear, unity over division. But its lessons remain relevant. It reminds us of the dangers of ideological extremism, the value of freedom, and the human cost of division. The Berlin Wall was not just a structure of concrete and steel, it was a scar on history, a stark reminder of what happens when a world is divided by fear. And though it has fallen, its story continues to echo through time, a testament to the unbreakable desire for freedom and unity.